everybody. So, today is Monday. I almost said Wednesday. Whew. I hope everybody's week is starting out really well. And I actually started going to the gym, and I'm really loving it. So, and Batman and Oreo stays in the apartment. And, of course, I'm sure Batman feels like you get to go do what you want and I have to babysit. It's okay. It'll be fun, baby. Yeah, he's on my desk right now. But anyways, we are going to be starting off with chapter 52 today. And I think there's like 3 chapters left. Somebody was outside yelling. I thought someone was yelling my name. So 3 chapters left, and we are going to be starting Wicked Curse. I am so excited. What a better way to start the year off with reading the next book in this series. Which I could seriously talk about this book like forever. I really do. But when we get this one done, then we're going to be starting Mystical. These 2 books, I have to admit, like, these 2 were my favorite ones that I wrote because why do I like them so much? Because I really enjoyed the writing process and especially developing the story, the characters, their backstories. I think my most favorite part in Wicked Curse was developing and creating the dead woman, which on the front cover of here, if you can see it, has the pentagram, and that is actually the eyeball in these mysticals. That's why I named the last book Mystical. But I do love all 4 books. I'm just mostly in love with I would have to say probably Wicked Curse. But I also really love Mystical because I keep looking at the covers. And I think these 2 are like probably my most favorite covers that I did. But besides my poetry book Warriors, that cover was pretty cool. But I also like the cover of I Am Her. That one was pretty cool too. Okay, so anyways, I love bragging about these 2 books. I love it. Right, Batman? I love it. This would be a good post. Anyways, okay. Okay, so we are going to start reading chapter 42. And this is going to be from Olivia's point of view. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3. There's only like 5 pages, which that's not bad. Okay. Chapter 52 from Awakened Evil. Once Olivia arrived at the train station, she sat there looking at the people going by and seeing the train in the back leaving as another one showed up. People passed by with laptop bags and suitcases, getting to their locations. She paid the taxi, got out with her suitcase, and walked through the door with people in line to buy a ticket. She looked around for a chart. She stopped by a sheet of glass hanging on the wall and saw all the town. The town? Names and roads marked on it. She placed a finger on the town where she was, then slid it along the blue line and saw that she was going to pass Thunder Bay, then go to Toronto, and then stop in Detroit. She walked over to the ticket booth with benches where a few people were sitting. Olivia bought a ticket and sat down before anyone else took the spot on the bench. As she waited, her phone began to ring. It caught a few people's attention. Sorry, she grabbed it from her bag and slid a finger across the screen to unlock it. It was Tyler. I knew he would be worried about me. She pressed later on the text and then put the phone back in the pouch. A train came to a stop as people stood around her. She put the phone in her suitcase and zipped it closed. She waited to get on as people got off. She showed the ticket to the conductor, who wore a hat and overalls. The conductor looked the ticket over, then gave it back to her. Enjoy your trip. Olivia smiled back and said thank you, then walked up the steps as others boarded the train. She found her seat by the window and sat down. She didn't realize how long it would take to get back home, at least 4 days. The train engine started as the conductor called out, "All aboard." She rested her head on the back of the seat and closed both eyes until she heard a beeping sound. She grabbed her phone and slid a finger across the screen to see what the beeping sound was. It was Tyler texting her again. He wanted to know if she was all right. She texted back, "Yes, I'm fine. Don't worry, I'll call you when I get home." Olivia hated the fact that she left Tyler behind, and her dad, Skeeter, and Loretta. She didn't want to leave, but had no choice. She had to do what was best at the time. Looking through the train port window, she could see it all pass by. The fiery glow of the sun lifted from behind the tall pine trees as the light reflected across the lake. The warmth of the sun felt pleasing and relaxing. The next few passing hours went on with nothing to do. Fields with trees and bushes were along the side of the ditch, with high hills lapping over one another. The view of the landscapes going by took her breath away. She loved the mountains and the flowers in the field. All of it was a great experience to see like this. Through the next couple days, Olivia talked to her dad on the phone, letting him know she was okay. She was sorry to leave and not tell him face to face. At least, she left a note and a text for Tyler. And then we have ... Tuesday morning, the last day on the train, Olivia opened her eyes, hearing voices. The sunlight peeked out over tall buildings. The morning light shined in through the glass towards Olivia's face. The tall buildings and the big bridge reminded her of Detroit. She grabbed her phone and checked the time, 6:30 in the morning. The train came to a slow stop, arriving at a station. She grabbed her bag and followed the crowd of people off the train into the darkness. There were no scents in the air. It was cold, though. Olivia walked over to the side of the road where people were standing and waiting. She pulled her jacket out and put it on. My vision was right like always. Olivia turned and there stood Gina. She passed a few people, then stopped in front of her. What are you doing here, Olivia? I could ask you the same thing. I told you I was going to call if something came up. I couldn't wait. Inga could kill again. I worried about my mom. Batman? Hey. Batman likes a rough play. Batman. Hey. You gotta be gentle with him. I couldn't wait. Inga could kill again. I worried about my mom. Did you fly down here? No, I drove. I've been here waiting for you. Olivia said nothing, not knowing what to say. Batman? Batman? A part of me is mad because you don't listen and you do whatever you want. But in this case, I can't get mad because both our lives are on the line. She reached down, grabbed her bag, and put it over her shoulder. Let's go. You're taking me home? Yeah, I am. Olivia followed her to the car and got in the passenger seat as Gina put the bags in the trunk, then got in the driver's seat and left the train station. The first couple minutes were quiet until Olivia spoke. It's good to see you again. You too, Olivia. What have you been up to? I've been doing investigations, and she said, then stopped at a red light. I've been struggling. Why? Because I kept seeing a woman formed in a white mist and another woman with green and blue eyes. Did they say who they were? The white mist did. Who is she? Belinda, and I think we're going to meet her soon. Gina drove across a bridge, then onto a highway. The next couple hours they passed a few towns. Pelistune, Petoskey, Clairvaux. Then finally they both had arrived to Traverse City. It was already almost sunset. Those towns were hard to say. I couldn't pronounce them. Gina and Olivia arrived at the house and stopped the car in the driveway. They both got out and the front door to the house opened. It was Olivia's mom. She ran down the steps and put her arms around her. Thank God you're okay. Why did you come? Why did you leave your dad? Because I was worried about you. I wanted to come back home. I missed you. I should have never told you about Richie and Madison. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, Mom. I had to come back. Your father called me and I told him everything. Was he mad? A little. He was more concerned. Olivia, Gina, and her mom walked into the house and sat down in the living room. Her mom kissed Olivia on the head, then looked back at Gina. What now? Where do we go from here? Well, we need to figure out how to put Inga back into the grave, where she belongs. But it won't be easy. A car was heard from outside. Who's here? Olivia asked. Gina walked over to the door and opened it. You can come in. Olivia, this is Richie and Madison. I called them to come over so we can talk. Hi, Madison said. Olivia stood up and shook her hand. She seemed a little taller than Olivia. Hi. I'm Madison. Keegan was my brother. I'm Olivia. Sorry about your brother. Olivia shook Richie's hand. He was taller than everyone in the room. He must be a basketball or a football player. I'm Richie. Terrence was my brother. Olivia, I don't want to jump out and say it, but I've seen her. Madison stared at her. Olivia knew what she was talking about. She didn't have to say it. The witch? I saw her upstairs then when I left the attic at the house in the woods. I know the witch killed my brother. How do you know it was her? There was no break-in or any signs of an intruder. What else could have done that? Okay, Gina said, rubbing her face. Let me refresh all your minds. We are all dealing with a witch from Salem, Massachusetts. She killed Keegan and Terrence already. Who knows who she's going to go after next? Johanna, Richie said. I have to call my mom. He pulled his phone out of his pocket and stepped outside on the deck. Olivia watched Madison walk into the kitchen to make a phone call. A few minutes went by and she walked back into the living room and said, "My mom isn't answering her phone. I have to go home and check on her. She always answers my calls. Let me go with you, please." Olivia stepped forward as Richie came inside the house and closed the door behind him. "If something goes wrong, I know how to help. I've dealt with Inga before, and I can do it again." Madison and Richie glanced over at Gina, concerned. Gina nodded. "She can do it. I trust her. I'll stay here." Okay, so the showdown is seriously about to happen between a dead witch and two young women. So Olivia is finally now home, and she didn't want to leave her two cousins and her dad enticed and concerned, but she knows everything what is going on now, and she wants to get home just to make sure that her mom is okay. And when she gets there, from the train station, Gina is there, and Olivia's like, "Why are you here?" Of course, Gina had a vision that Olivia was on the train, so that's when Olivia realized that something bad is going to happen. With Inga, of course, there is something always going to happen with her. So now we're on chapter 53, which I will be reading Wednesday. And I'm sure we're getting down to the wire here. And I'm pretty sure you guys are probably wondering, we're getting down to the wire, and there's 2 more books in the series, and they're this thick. Yeah. The reason why is because in the first, isn't this just a beautiful cover? Oh my gosh. In this first book, I did leave, I didn't put too many Easter eggs in here. I did do Eleanor and Margaret. There's a scene in here where Inga said, "Quiet, Eleanor and Margaret." They're upstairs in the attic. So, and then with that's another clue, because Margaret and Eleanor, you meet them in this book, Awakened Evil. So I left a whole bunch. Well, I don't want to say a whole bunch. I did leave a few clues in here. So the scene from when Johanna is drawing those pictures. Those pictures actually lead to, I think it's Wicked Curse. Yes. So one of the pictures that Johanna drew in Awakened Evil was 2 witches fighting each other. And there's a scene in Wicked Curse that happens. And then, there is another Easter egg hunt, another Easter egg in here. So when Keegan was in the house, or no, wait, is it Awakened Evil? I think so. When he was in the house, I think he saw green and blue crystals, and I think something else in here. So that was also a hint to Wicked Curse. And then, oh boy, so in Wicked Curse, there's a lot of things that the characters do say, in the dialogue in this one, that will lead to mystical. And I just can't help but just die over this cover, because I just love it. So I don't know if you guys can really see them, but there are symbols on the front cover here that I use like throughout the book. And I think what I'm gonna do when I do this book here is the hardbound, the hardbound edition. I am going to put the meaning to the symbols because I haven't read this book in a while, and I'm going to have to figure out what these symbols mean. There's like an X. One is for water and fire, death, air. So it's like the 5 elements of, you know, and then I know I think the circle through the line means death. I don't know. I thought I did have those symbols in here, but I guess I don't. But anyways, so with Awakened Evil, when I write a book series, I really love to leave. Now I do this because I didn't do it a whole lot with The Wish, but I really like to leave little Easter eggs. An Easter egg, a writer, well, it's like, if you talk to someone and about their book, they'll say something like, well, I was leaving Easter eggs all over the book. And of course the person's gonna look at you like, huh? And it means that they're leaving clues that will lead up to the next book, like I just explained. And I had a lot of fun doing that, especially in this one, in Awakened Evil and Wicked Curse. I'm really, really excited to start reading Wicked Curse. I just can't wait. Oh man, I just can't believe I have a 4-book series. I have 12 books out altogether. So I do have another poetry book. Actually, 2 more poetry books. I don't want to say the titles because they're not even done yet. One of them is about I think it's my teenage years again. And then the other one is about like loving me the way I am. Because I'm learning to love myself and accept myself. And so there's those 2 books. And then including the second book to Guardian, which I don't have a copy to show you because it's over there. So I'm having a lot of fun with what I'm writing right now. And I cannot stop yawning. I'm really excited to start. I keep saying that. But actually on this book cover, I don't know if you guys can notice, but these orbs right here, I don't know if you can see it. See these orbs like right here? Okay, so I just realized they were there. Okay, those orbs these are real orbs, okay? I took a picture of something and I copied and pasted the orb from a photo I took and I stuck it on here. And I'm just like, wow. I don't think there's very many of them, but I remember doing that now. Years ago, a friend of mine had given me a camera and I was taking a ton of pictures with it. And you would not believe how many orbs I caught. I caught so many orbs. And a lot of people's like, oh, it's dust portals. It's just dust. And I just ignore those type of people that don't really believe in the afterlife and paranormal and stuff. So I kind of just ignore them. But if you guys believe in it, that's good. So these are the orbs on the cover right here that I took off of a photo that I took years ago. Yeah. And then on here, nothing. This sky that I didn't take this sky picture. I wish I would have. When I was trying to decide how to do this cover, I was trying to take a picture of a moon, like outside, but it just wasn't working out very well. So this is sort of like the eclipse, and I thought about naming it Eclipse, but I did not want to get hated on and treated like crap because Stephanie Meyers wrote a book called Eclipse. I was gonna name it like The Mystical Eclipse or something, but I liked Mystical way better. And I do love this cover. And so when I had the eclipse right here, then I knew I had to put this on it somehow. So the way this looks is actually the eyes inside the mysticals. So this cover was a lot of fun to write. I put a lot of effort into it. It looks just a simple cover, but it was hard. So I do have to say this cover was a little challenging as well. I did have a lot of fun doing this one. But anyways, I'm talking about book covers when I was supposed to be talking about the chapter. Now I don't even remember what I read. Oh yeah, so Olivia gets off the train, and so now she's at the house, and then Madison and Richie show up, and now Madison calls her mom, and her mom is like worried. Now when I wrote this chapter and I put these characters in the room, I had to make sure that they acted the same because I was from Olivia's point of view. I wasn't from Gina's point of view, and I wasn't from Madison's point of view. So when Olivia is looking at the people, I had to just make sure that Madison was acting and thinking the same when I was in her point of view. So that, I don't think that was challenging. I just had to make sure that I did not like mess that up. So anyways, so the next chapter is going to be a lot of chaos going on. Let me see. The one chapter I'm really excited to read. Let me see if I can find it. 43. I think 54. So something does happen to Tyler in chapter 54. I don't want to say, but yeah, I see the scene right here. So I just can't believe we have like 3 chapters left. 3, 4, 5, yeah. 3 chapters left. I feel like I want to like read all 3 of them right now so we can get going on Wicked Curse, but I'm just excited to get Awaken Evil ended. White Batman. Oh, Batman. Ooh. Can you guys hear him? Batman. Hey, okay, get down. Get down. Get down. Seriously, get down. Okay. So, Wednesday, okay, I'm going to the gym, so at noon. So hopefully I will be done so I can get the next chapter read in this one. So thank you all so much for joining me. And I am excited to read the next chapter so we can get on to Wicked Curse. I just can't help myself. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you Wednesday. Hopefully at 4 o'clock because I'm going to the gym. For like at least 2 hours, and then I'm doing the live, and then I'm going to church. So anyways, thank you all so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great